a short lecture on the north of New Spain. There was basically no attempt early on to conquer the nomadic Indians. There were explorations across the north, but it was evident that the nomads had nothing, to take away from them, and they couldn't be easily subjected to coercive labor the way in which the Indians settled in towns in central New Spain and southern the Yucatan, basically in Mesoamerica. So this is basically ignored for a while until, of course, there's the discovery of silver. And this is going to change things, how the leaders of New Spain will deal with the nomads in this vast area to the north. The silver frontier was not an easy conquest by any means, but initially the Spaniards skipped across it and went into the very distant north, where there were in fact settled Indians, namely in the northern reaches of the Rio Grande, where the Indians were settled in towns, hence the Pueblo Indians, and the new colony, the new settlement, resembling Old Mexico, is New Mexico. And they set out to basically establish the same kind of system as in central and southern Mexico and Mesoamerica, the conquest of land and labor of Indians. The missionaries may have been too excessive in their demands for cultural change, and there's a Pueblo revolt in 1680, and the Spaniards fall back to El Paso, and 12 years later they will return for a reconquest of New Mexico. The population in this whole area, including New Mexico, is sparse. It doesn't have the concentration that it has in central New Spain or in the Yucatan Peninsula. And so the systems will be very, very different. Clearly, the area could not have the kind of economic dynamics of the hacienda in its agricultural production. And in the semi-arid land, agriculture was basically only for what people needed to eat. The income-generating activity in the semi-arid land will be livestock. Horses that have grazed wild in the northern frontier lands, sheep and goats that are herded into the area. These are the economic basis, the income-generating activities in the far north. And consequently, you have the whole vaquero tradition that will later on pass on to the American West, the cowboy, the Texas cowboy, and so on. Let's get back to how they're going to deal with the nomads in this silver-generating areas of the immediate north. At first, the Indians, understandably, fight back the newcomers, those who are intruding into their territories, and there's a huge fight. And the Spaniards are not completely ready for this fight. They don't have the organized army. They resort to treaties to buy out the Indians in order to get to those silver deposits. There's an attempt to capture the nomads that are captured in those wars, to enslave them and work in the mines, but this is limited by the church and by the difficulties of supervising a slavery system in the mines. It was expensive, as it was expensive to generate, to conduct those wars. And because there's silver around, understandably, this is one of the areas where free wage labor develops and continues throughout the colonial period. What to do with the nomads remains remains a problem, and the solution was to create towns for them, just like there had been towns in central and southern Mexico. So this whole idea of inviting the nomads who had insecure lives, insecure supplies, resources, and to bring them together into farming communities, into farming towns, led by the missionaries, of course, where they would teach the Indians how to farm. This is one of the principal institution in settling the North, and it's accompanied by the presidio, which is a system of soldier settlers. The soldiers are not full-time soldiers. They're expected to do their own farming. Consequently, the soldier-settler town is a better description of the presidio. And of course, there's the civilian town that follows it eventually. San Antonio is a very good example of this. 5 missionary-led Indian towns, the Presidio de Béjar and the Villa de San Fernando. The church there in between the two is what is now San Fernando Cathedral. The Presidio is there because of the missions and because some of the Indians, Comanches and Apaches, are attacking and raiding, and there's a defense against the Indios Bárbaros. And it's there also because of the possibility of European competitors on the fringes of the empire. The institution's not fully funded. There's some limits to what the presidios can do, but they managed to hold on. Here's a presidio of greater importance in San Agustin in Florida. And of course, there's the towns, the civilian towns that have settlers who are neither soldiers nor connected with the missionary-led Indian towns, and this is what the civilian population will eventually move to the north, expand to the north, and create towns. In all of these 3 institutions, these 3 towns, the missionary-led Indian towns, the civilian town, the Presidio soldier-settler town, agriculture is for staying alive. In San Antonio, there are 50 miles of irrigation canals in order to sustain these towns. But the real income comes from the livestock. Horses that are then gathered and eroded in a rodeo and taken to Saltillo. The same thing with wool from the sheep and cattle that sustain the population and so on. This is the economic activity that brings in the money. Thank you very much.